So for the longest time, I was under the complete impression that 360-degree cameras were a complete gimmick. They weren't versatile and only served one purpose. But after playing around with one for the last couple of weeks, my eyes have been opened. I've seen and tested all of the different creative possibilities you have when shooting with one, and I can truthfully say that I have been converted. So today I wanted to show you guys how this camera right here has made its way into my camera bag and how I've been able to get some of the coolest cinematic shots when filmmaking with this camera right here. So thank you to this video sponsor, PanoX. This is the PanoX V2. It's my first time playing with the 360 camera, and for a complete beginner like myself, it's actually been incredibly easy and fun to use. This camera does everything from high quality 12K 360 photos to 5.7K videos with an option to crank that up to 8K. The camera also shoots slow-mo, time-lapse, and also does Wi-Fi live streaming. It has a half-inch sensor, so you know that video quality is not going to be a joke, and the 360-degree footage is incredibly easy to work with. So thank you again to PanoX for sponsoring this video. If you guys see the footage and you think you want to cop one for yourself, check it out in the description. It'll be the first link. All right, so right now I'm with my friends. We're heading into the mountains. I was doing some thinking last night as to what would be the coolest way to get the best footage. And I know it doesn't seem like there's a lot of snow outside right now because it is almost May, but if it isn't obvious yet, we're in the Rockies. We're going skiing today. So I ski, so I haven't actually thought too much about how I'm gonna hold this camera. Maybe I'll ditch the right pole, hold the camera, or ditch both poles. Haven't figured it out yet. But it doesn't really matter how you set up the camera because you don't really have to frame this camera. It's a 360 camera. It captures video everywhere, so you don't have to think too much about it.
Yeah, this one right here goes out to all the babies, mamas. Baby mamas.
This is the craziest tech I've ever seen, man. I've never seen a person put in contacts like this.
Oh, it's off, it's off.
So the cool thing about 360 cameras, and what I like about this, is that it has smart tracking, which means that I don't have to worry about framing at all. I just have to turn it on, hit record, and stick out the selfie stick, and the video should frame itself and track me. Because the 360 camera is on this huge selfie stick, you get angles that you can't get with a regular camera, because whether I'm skiing, I can stick it out in front of me and get really low to the ground while I'm still standing upright, and just stick it behind me or stick it in my friends' faces. Whereas with like a normal camera, like what you guys are seeing right now, I have to get someone to hold it. It has to be in my hands, and you can't really get it far away from yourself, so you really only have a few angles to play with. Oh, I guess, yeah, we could do that. We don't have to go all the way down. All right, we'll cook this. Good ski day?
Hell yeah. Amazing ski day. A little slushy.
Little slushy, but I'm super excited to see the footage. On the actual camera, there's like a 3-inch touchscreen where you can control it and like spin the camera around, but you can also use it to like view the footage afterwards. So our friend Keegan had an absolute send off this extra large jump, and I can just go in right now and look at it and laugh. Isn't that clip of me skiing explaining how the stabilization plus the tracking works? I'm moving pretty fast and there's a lot of wind, and you can actually hear my voice perfectly clear, which is insane because there's no external mics on this thing. That's the built-in mic. And again, right now you guys are hearing the built-in mic again. That just makes filming these things so much easier because I'm not messing around with plugging anything in. I don't forget anything. It's all just one thing. One camera, 2 lenses, and an infinite amount of angles. So what does all this mean in terms of actual filmmaking and how I'm gonna actually use it in my workflow? 2 ways, and I'll share with you guys right now. First of all, I think just because of the size and how creative you can get with the angles and where you're putting the camera, not to mention all the distortion and reframing options you have in post, I think 360-degree cameras pretty much make action cameras like GoPros obsolete. Because when there's action, like skiing, the last thing you want to do is worry about where your camera is pointing, and with a 360 camera, especially when it cuts out that selfie stick and makes it invisible, that pretty much just solves that problem. And number two, I think it's always really important, no matter what camera you're using, to have engaging visual pieces throughout your video. I've said this before, but I like to think of it as purchasing attention from the viewer. So by implementing this really cool camera technique, and that could be slow motion, a time lapse, or in this case, a 360-degree angle, it just helps you keep the viewer's attention as you transition from scene to scene. Not to mention that it's pretty much necessary to have some sort of visually engaging B-roll when transitioning from talking segments, which I'm gonna do right now.
These days don't end, and you lost the things that brought us closer. We're spread so thin, and that's all it takes to knock you over.
Finding out the hard way, forgot how good it feels to be alone. You did watch a movie on your phone for real. Is this how I'm supposed to feel? Save me some, she said, love. I felt like you could've called it something else, but I couldn't think of nothing else for real, 'cause it was hard to tell.